All right. Check one, two. Okay, it's working. All right, I got a fan in the background. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. Doesn't look like it is. So let's just get started. So I'm going to go through my process for making a mod. Um, and hopefully my engine is working right and everything works out good. But I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible for the first run and then go back and make additional edits to try to keep the pace going. So I went on to DeviantArt and I'm going to see if this is available. Download here only for Patreons. Okay, so that's not available. So I need to find a model. So I'm just going to DeviantArt to look for something relatively simple that's not paywalled that I can just grab and use. Um, let's see, what about this? This is corrected eye shine or something. I don't know. Okay, so this is an XPS based model, it looks like. So let's see, can I download it? Yes. Okay, so let's go to my drive, go to model reps, we'll go to DeviantArt, and we'll get this Tamaki. So this, it looks pretty simple. It's just a skirt, some stockings, an upper body piece, right? So it should be pretty simple to go and do. I still use Blender 3.6 just because I like to. Um, a lot of the tools are coming out for Blender 4 and stuff and different things of that nature. One of the things that I like to do also is to make sure that my stage is set up, my scene is set up pretty well. So whenever this loads, and it's real simple to get started. I also use a blend file that you can find on my GitHub. You can also use a blend file that one of the Discord members, Umin and Salt, have made for like female bodies. Um, what I'm using is I basically what I did is I took the blend file and I created I marked things as assets so you can load them as an asset library, and that way you can use them the same way that I use mine. If you don't know how to set that up, just look up on Google. You'll find out how to do it. But if I go to my asset browser, um, I've got these different asset libraries that I can work from. I'm going to use this one right here, and this is just what I have set up right now. So this says unders, but this is I think in the current one that I have available, I have this version in here and not this one yet. So I'll probably update it shortly to include this one. Basically, this one just is has a pair of underwears that I put on her, so that way she sets. The way this is set up is that this outfit is parented to this body, so that way it matches. It also is set with a surface deformer, so that when I change parts of this body, this will change too. I just don't want to have to deal with like a video getting like demonetized or something because of an outfit or something. Right now, this is Stellar Blades, Eve's body proportions. So I'm going to go ahead and revert this. This thing comes with shape keys on it, so I can go over here to the shape key section. It's a little bit different place, I think, for Blender 4 and above, but it kind of works the same. And you can see that I have a shape key set for this one. I'm just turning it all the way back down to 0. If none of these are listed, then it's set to the common body um, dimensions, right? Common body for Tekken 8, for all the females and all the males are the same common body, but based on the character, the game will switch them if you're using a common MSL PRP setup. So let's see, I'm working with Nina. So if I wanted to get Nina's proportions, I would just click on that and then go up like this. And there we go. That we got Nina's proportions. Um, so I think the first thing I'll do is I want to do this mod as an MSL only, right? So the way the game uses their body setups is they have a unique setup, which is just using an MSL rig, and I'll show you what that is in just a moment. And then also a common setup, which uses an MSL rig, which handles all the animations, and then a PRP rig, which handles proportions, which essentially does the same thing as this shape key, right? It uses its base body, and when you put it into game, it says, oh, you put this on Nina, so we'll make the body look like this. Oh, you put this on Azucena, so the body will look like that, right? You only want one of these on at a time. You can set them all to 1 if you want to. Just make sure you turn them off. Okay, cool. So we've got our body here. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna set this one to Nina for now, just so that we can just do this MSL only setup. So there's the body. One of the things you want to check with your body is you want to check the size of your body. People are going to use a bunch of different importers to get models and stuff into their blend file. But what you want to look for is you want to click on it and you're looking at something that's going to be Z. So Z is the height usually. It's this up and down axis, vertical axis. This is 158 meters, so it's a short chick, I think, like under 5 foot or something, 5 foot something. Um, and it also doesn't have a head. So this is just the size of this model. You're looking for something between 150 and like 180, right? For the guys. So if your model is more than 1 point or more than 2 meters tall, it's huge. Like, or more than 200 centimeters tall, whatever. This says meters right now, but this should say centimeters. So what I'll do here is change my unit scale to 0.01, and then I'll change my length to centimeters. And there we go. 158 centimeters is what I want this to be. All right. I usually hit A, Control A, all transforms just to make sure everything is the right size. All right. Nice. So that's the super easy setup for this. My blend files have these bodies on them. I'm going to delete the 0 part, and I'll explain why later. All right, but this is the base skin, right? This is the base skin for your characters. If you're using a common setup, or you check an is common item option in the future process, it will just automatically switch this from a generic female skin to whatever your character's actual skin tone is. So I like to use this and rely on this versus uh, getting individual skins altogether, but that's already set up for you. Don't have to worry about it. You won't need these either for your stuff, so just you can delete them whenever you're ready to export or whatever, or just delete them in general. I'm also going to delete all of this setup for a second, and I'm going to switch this to append. The reason why I'm switching it to append is because it creates a new, and I have to fix this again. It creates a new object on my scene, and I do that because sometimes it'll try to link them to like the original blend file, and I don't want to accidentally change my original blend file. And then I gotta set it all up again. So let's go back to here. Let's go back to our shape keys over here, and we'll set this to Nina, and we'll turn this off. All right. You see they kind of like build on each other. So if I wanted to have Nina's proportions, but then I also wanted to have Eve's proportions on Nina, I can kind of do that as well. But I'm not doing that. I'm just doing this. Okay, cool. So there's our Nina. I don't need this anymore for right now. Let's move to the next step. So I already checked up the stage and all that. We're good. So now let's go and check out our model that we grabbed and find it. And so it's this one. So we'll go ahead and unzip it. All right, cool. Click on it. Let's take a look at it. So looks like there's 3 different outfits. Let's just go out 2. So it's this one here. There we go. So that's the outfit we'll work with today. And it's only got 3 textures with it, so that makes it really easy. One of the things you'll notice if you work with XPSs, they've already probably consolidated a lot of things already. I'm going to go to this main one because I'm looking for a XPS file like this, and I'm going to load it. So if you don't already have an XPS add-on for Blender, you're going to need to grab it, and that's how you'll import your stuff. I believe I can import it now. Once you have it set up, you can import it directly from your list of things here or use this. So I'm just going to use this for right now. And we'll go into here. Let's go into model rips. DeviantArt. And we'll go to this main file here for now. There's two of these. The ASCII doesn't work with Blender, so use this one. And then just import it. And there we go. Okay, so it's really teeny tiny. So let's go ahead and look at it. So I'm going to do frame selected so I can zoom in on it. And there's our teeny tiny body. So I'm gonna keep the body on this armature. Um, and I don't want to resize like the body parts. If I hit S to scale, I can resize the individual body parts. I don't want to do that. I just want to scale everything at once. So I'm just gonna grab it and I'm gonna hit S to scale and just keep pulling it up until it's about the same size. All right. And at first it doesn't need to be exact. We can go ahead and make some changes. One of the things that I try to do whenever I'm setting up my stuff is try to keep the armpits and the crotch in the right spot. So let's I'll start with trying to get the armpits together. Sometimes they're in a different position, so you won't be able to do it. Another quick tip that you can, if you hit G and then one of the axes like X, Y, or Z, then you can move an object only on that axis. And what I want to do right now is I need to make sure that her crotch is lined up. So I'm actually gonna bring her crotch down for a second, and I'm gonna hit Control A. Well, I hit A, Control A, all transforms. Um, Actually, I'm gonna set the origin of this to the geometry, and what that usually does is allow me to scale it where it is. So what I'm doing is I just want to make sure I want to try to just using the basic scale options to make it work. So I've got this little bit of distance here that I want to cover. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit big. I'm gonna hit G and Z to get the crotch line back in line, and then just rinse and repeat until I'm looking pretty lined up. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm lined up from the front. I'm gonna go to the side. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna hit G and Y. See kind of like where the bodies match up. And when I'm looking for where the bodies match up, I'm looking at this groin line here. Right, and I kind of want that to be as close together as possible, or as the original one, because I can always work like shoulders and other things on their own. Shoulders seem to work pretty well. Let's turn off X-ray mode, and I'm just gonna GY real quick just to kind of see what's going on. And it looks like the shoulders are matching up exceptionally well. So that's really working out in our favor. That doesn't always happen, but it's great when it does. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna hit A, Control A, all transforms, just so that that's set where it is. Now I'm gonna click on these bones here, and I'm gonna go ahead and go into pose mode. And what I want to do now is use the bones that already exist to move the character stuff around. So in this process, when I click on a bone and I see that it moves stuff, but it's not what I want it to move, I usually just hit H to hide it. Another thing that I like to do is go into the bone viewport display. So if you look at the armature viewport display, I don't like stick mode. I like octahedral or whatever, because it's easier to see. And that way I can look at these different bones and do that. I'm moving this by just hitting R and then moving left and right with my mouse. When you do that, it'll use whatever view that you're at to move stuff. By right clicking, it just pretty much cancels that move. So I'm gonna click on this here, and that looks good. I think there's a bone here I don't want to move, like that one. I'm gonna hide it, and we're good. I'm gonna turn on X-ray mode again. Oops, let me go back to this and change this to X-ray mode real quick. And what I want to do is I want to line this leg up with my second character leg. Now, in some cases, depending on your mesh, you can use left leg and right leg to symmetrize. In order for that to work, these have to have the same name, right? And they don't. So I could, if I want to, I can go into edit mode. I can click on this bone here, or not that bone, but I want the left leg bone here. And I could rename it if I want to. So I'm going to go into here and just call this one Um, L dot leg thigh. All right, and then we click on this one and make sure that I'm clicking on the same version. And I'm gonna call this one R dot leg thigh. All right, now if I go into pose mode and I have X set, when I move them, you'll see that they move. So that makes it a little bit easier for repositioning your stuff. And then it's just, trying to get the pose as close as possible. So I usually look at the knees and try to get the knees in the right spot, which they look to be for the most part in the right spot. But we can see that her lower leg is much longer, right? And I try to get that line straight from like the hip down to the ankle if at all possible. I also switch my mode to normal when I'm dealing with bones, and you'll see that when I click on this, or maybe you won't. Let's click on this. All right, here. You can see that this is now pointing down along the bone. If I use global, it's going to be using like the viewport to determine where everything's going. So when you have normal, it'll try to follow whatever you're selecting. See, this allows me to use like an isolate keyboard shortcut like S to move things up and down to scale it. So G is to move, S is to scale, and R is to rotate. If you click all three of those and then one of the X, Y, or Z axes, you'll be able to move something directly along those different things, which makes things a little bit easier once you get the hang of it. So Y is going to be this yellow or a green one, and I'm going to need to find the lower leg bone that does what I need it to do. So let's see, remove this, and that's not it, so I'm gonna hit H to hide it. We go at this one, and this looks like the right bone. I'm actually gonna change this name to L dot leg knee, and the key thing is that you've got L dot or L underscore either at the beginning and then have the same name, or you have like I could put like leg underscore knee dot L or underscore L. As long as I keep that same format for the other leg, it'll work out just fine, right? So I like to do it in edit mode though, so let's make sure. There we go. Oh, let me get to pose mode so I know which bone I'm messing with. So that mode. And I think it'll let me change it here anyways too. So we'll just do the same thing. This would be R dot leg knee. And I think I messed up, right? So I put in knee, but I'm pretty sure that the other one is lowercase. So they have to be the exact same name, just with the L and the R. Right. So now that I switched that, you see that they move together. All right. So this one I'm going to slightly move a little bit. Whoops, like this. Another trick is if you hold down the shift button, you can make your moves a lot more precise. It kind of like slows down the way it transforms. So we're gonna hit S and then Y to get this X, this foot up to about where that foot is. And that looks pretty solid. They don't need to be exact, but I'm gonna try, see what I can do. So we're just gonna do it like that. Now the foot itself is a little bit big, so it might cause some issues. I think what I'm gonna do for the feet though, when I move the feet, is I'm just going to look from the side view and just pull the foot up a little bit after selecting both of them. Or actually, no, they look pretty straight. I'm going to switch this to global mode and see if I can move them up. Okay, so it's not letting me move these directly up. And the reason is, I believe, because they're connected. Let me just check something real quick. Oh, it might be this too. Auto IK got turned on, so let's see if, yeah, okay. So what the auto IK is, it tries to keep the body moving the way the bones are set up. So I'm just gonna move this. Did I get both of them? Did. So I'm gonna move this up just a little bit. And actually, let's go up to this knee leg bone. If I can find it. All right, where you at? Try this one. I'm just gonna hide that. This one. Oh, it's down here. Okay, there it is. I'm just gonna move this up a little bit. So we'll go back to normal. SY. Move it a little bit. Whatever. And we can play around with that a little bit. If it's a little bit in, that's fine. I also want to switch these over. I want to tilt this, but I don't want to, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the renaming. So this is left leg. So we'll call this one L dot leg ankle. I can just copy this if I want to as well. Find the same one on this side, name it, and then just switch it from L to R. Now I can just tilt them so they're kind of straight. And I can make some additional edits later, but I just want to get the body lined up. Let's do the same thing for the arms. So I don't want that bone, so I'll hit H. This looks like this green bone is not what I want, so I'm going to hit H. This is probably going to be the bone that I need. Also, we can see that the top shoulders are a little bit high. Now, I'm not going to be doing the head here for these ones, but I do want the shoulders to kind of fit. So I'm going to see if I can make some changes there. That's not really helping me out too much. Let's see, what if I make them, I'm going to use S and Z to kind of squish them up a little bit. See if that works. That's not really doing it for me either. So what I'm going to go in and do is once I have these arms laid out, I'm just going to go and actually move the mesh a little bit myself. Okay, so let's get the arms in a good spot. Right now I'm just going to kind of see what I can do. All right, so that's connected. I'm just going to try to get the arms like in alignment for the most part. Okay, cool. So arm, left shoulder. So I'll just call this one left arm, shoulder. Switch this one to right arm, shoulder. There we go. So I'm going to get it lined up. Go to top view. And we can see that the arms are not necessarily lined up. So go back to this. Try to move this over a bit. And now I want to find the lower arm. There we go. So we'll call this one left arm, elbow. I think it's the same one. Okay, so now I'm going to go up top. And I'm just using the global view for this one just to kind of get the arm bent so that the wrists are in line. And also you can see that the wrist or the elbow joint here is different. So I'm going to, let's go ahead and make this upper arm a little bit longer. Right? So that's, this joint is a little bit further down. I'm gonna switch this back to normal so I can move along with the bone with SY. Make it a little bit longer. Doesn't really need to be too much longer. I think that should work. Now I'm just gonna run this again. Oops, not that one. All right. Cool. And then I'll just try to get the hand as close as I can to where it's set up. Now hands are a bit of an issue, so we're gonna wait for hands for a second. I always do hands last usually, but the rest of the body is pretty lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and another thing you notice here is that with this XPS model, and I'm gonna go ahead and hide my tech and body stuff. That it's all in different pieces, right? So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to join these all these pieces together. Now that's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. The materials for these are usually per section. All right, but I am not going through. I'm going to have to go ahead and combine these, but I'll combine these later. For now, I'm just going to select all of them, or at least the parts that I want. So the head stuff I don't need to do, so I'm going to hide this armature up here real quick. All right, and I'm going to select her head items, and I'm going to hit M to create a collection. New collection. We'll call this XPS head, and that creates a little folder here. I'm going to go ahead and hide that folder so it's invisible. Oh, that worked out great. And now the rest of this stuff, I'm just going to join. So I'm just going to pick a body part, make sure it's bright orange and not the dark orange, and then right click and then just hit join. Now it doesn't connect any vertices, it just makes it all one object. So when I move it, it's all one. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and minimize that. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring back this body. Okay, and I hit backslash. Backslash will allow me to hide stuff that I have, that anything that's not selected will get hidden. If I hit it again, my stuff will show up again. Okay, so the body is pretty much right on top of each other, which is where I want it to be. I'm gonna look at the breast line as well. So the boobs look like they're pretty close together with regards to sizing. So that's no big issue. But I do want this top part to be brought down. So I'm going to use the sculpt tool, which is sometimes your best friend, sometimes it's your worst enemy. I'm going to go ahead to this mode. We're going to turn this on. And what I want to do is bring down these shoulders. And I want to make sure I'm using symmetry so that both sides are going to be affected. Now, if I just grab it, I can just move it around. Now, it's very easy to rip your mesh at times as well. So you want to kind of pay attention to that. To kind of alleviate that issue, I like to prep my mesh ahead of time. So by doing, and basically what I'm going to do is I want to join the pieces that are supposed to be joined. And the easiest way I found to do that is take your mesh into edit mode. With everything selected, you can hit A to select everything. Go to the select option, go to select loops, select boundary loop, and it's going to grab all these little pieces here that are like the edges and boundaries of your stuff. And then I just do a mesh cleanup, merge by distance. You'll see 10,000 pieces were done. Now, if you do that and you get some weird looking like normal stuff, it might be because you have like duplicate mesh pieces that were all stuck together, but this usually does a pretty good job of just putting together the things that you want together. All right. You'll also notice that when I'm in edit mode, none of the pose stuff can be seen. If I want to see the in pose mode, I would go down to my modifier stack and turn these on, and now you can see it in its posed situation. So I'm gonna hit A, Alt N, and then average normal face area by normals just to make things look a little bit cleaner. And there we go. That's our body. Okay, so let's go back to sculpt mode here. And what I want to do is bring these shoulders down and neck down. Now, it can be a little bit hard to see sometimes, even when you go into X-ray mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the tech and body here. I'm going to go to my material list, and I'm going to find the body, and I'm going to hit use nodes and turn it off. Then I'm just going to change this to a color that stands out. So in this case, let's use red. I want the arms also like that. So I'll go use nodes and go back to red. Okay, so now I can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit easier. So I'll go into here. I also set the strength down pretty low. If the strength is really high, it's really like it has a lot of impact on this area. Um, when the strength is lower, I feel like I can get a little bit more control. And so I'm pretty much just gonna bring this down and kind of fit it to where I think it should be. Um, Armpits are always a bit of a pain. So what I'm doing with what I like to do with the way I like to handle armpits is I'll go inside the mesh a bit. And what I'm looking for is to try to get this area here um, to kind of match up. So I'll move this over a bit. It's a little bit weird and it can be hard to like really get. I'm trying to pull this piece out and really try to get that armpit to match. The closer it matches, the better the transfer will be. All right, so then I'll just pop inside again and just looking for ways to kind of make it smoother. All right, cool. This looks good on both sides and we're good to go. All right, so there's our body. Good stuff. All right, so everything for the most part is lined up the way I want it to be lined up. This one actually came out pretty clean. But I want to deal with the hands. So hands can be, well, first off, I need to, let me go back and take a look. Do I even need to mess with hands? Because I may not even need to mess with hands for this. So let's take a look at our image. And so she's not wearing any gloves or anything. So I actually don't need to do the hands because all I'm going to do today is grab the outfit and put it on a Tekken character. I'm not going to do the hair either, or I'll do a face, right? Basically, I'm just taking the outfit and putting it on my character. So now that I have everything lined up, I need to make sure I save because I have not saved anything. And that is always dangerous because Blender can just die on you. So I'll go to my demos folder. We'll call this XPS to, what is her name? Tamaki. All right. I'll just call it XPS Tamaki. There we go. Saved. Good stuff. All right. So I am going to hide the Tekken body again real quick. So click on that. Actually, let's just click on here and just hit the invisible sign. And now I'm going to get rid of all of her skin. So I'm just going to hold L, which is select linked. And hopefully I can just easily grab all the skin. Now it looks like she has like another shirt underneath here. And I don't want to get rid of that. The same thing down here for the legs. So I'm going to switch this to material, see if that gives me a better selection, which it looks like it does. So it looks like it's just selecting skin parts. And so we'll do that here, and we'll do that here. And she's wearing stockings, so I don't have to worry about that. And she also has some underwears on, which is cool. All right, so we're going to hit X to delete these faces, or you can right click and separate them, and by selection if you're not sure if you want to get rid of them, and you can select them and then just hide them, right? And I'm going to put those in another folder called XPS skin. Cool. So now I can just hide them if I don't want to see them. Okay, cool. So now we've got our body and it's looking pretty solid. Let's go ahead and look at our mesh here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the rest of these red as well, at least the leg. Switch that to red so I can kind of see what I'm working with. I really don't, so I'm not going to need my my feet parts. And I'm not going to need a good portion of the leg because I'm going to let the this outside mesh kind of take over. But I do want to line it up a little bit better because it's definitely not lined up very well. So I'm going to go into edit mode, and I'm gonna hit L, and I'm still on material select mode, and hit L again. And now I'm gonna go into sculpt mode. And what I can do is I could set face sets based on selection. You'll see it changes it to a different color. I can now go to uh, the like the brush menu stuff here. I go to advanced, I can go to face sets. And what this will allow me to do is to grab only that face set that I'm working with, right? That I have selected. If I have this off and I grab that section, you can see that I'm grabbing part of the dress as well. So I don't really want to do that. I just want to mess with these parts to kind of line them up a little bit better. And the only part I'm really trying to line up is the edges, right? Just kind of make them fit around the leg. The part below it, I really don't care about too much. If you can't see a section, you can always use X-ray mode to kind of figure out where you want your stuff at. And a little bit of push and pull. To get it lined up. And how accurate it is going to be completely up to you. Now, this part right here, I'll pull out a little bit because I want to make sure I have enough room to have a little bit of the leg kind of go inside here, but I don't need the whole thing to be all matched up. All right. I also want to look at the rest of this thing and see what else needs to get moved out a little bit. So it looks like the underwear actually fits very well. So I'm not gonna really mess with that. The dress piece looks pretty solid, but let's see. We might need to move it a little bit. So let's go ahead and yeah, let's pull this out a little bit. Um, if your mesh is really low poly, it can cause a little bit of issue because it'll be like just hard to really pull it out the right way. So it's just kind of based on how you want it to look. So I'm just pulling that away from her body. Let's see. Looks like the boob area actually fits really well. Well, actually, looks like there's more boob um, for the uh, for the DOA character. So I've got a couple options. I can let me fix this part here for the arm piece. Make sure it's not sticking out. I don't want it to. And this area is going to be another example where I'm essentially going to hide the Tekken body inside of this mesh. But for the edge areas, I do want to get those overlapping if I can. Okay, cool. All right. It also looks like I have some cow mesh pieces. And what I mean by that is looks like some of these pieces actually no. Let me see. Let me hide that. Or yes, I can't tell. It looks like they might have like a two-sided setup with some of these. Or maybe not. This one's a little bit strange, so I'm just gonna hit Alt H to bring everything back. And it's kind of like chunky for some reason. So I'm gonna go to Shade Smooth. There we go. That kind of works a little bit better. And then I'm gonna go to Edit, A, Alt N, Average by Face, and that should smooth things out. Oh, but it didn't. Okay, so there are a couple things I can do to try to work with this. I might let's see. If I hit Shade Smooth, it looks better, but not perfect. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can do a tries to quads. Like this part here, I'm not sure what happened. Like, I don't know why that looks like that. It looks like a lot of mandatory full pieces. So I'm going to select this piece. I'm going to control I, hide everything else. Okay. And I'm going to go to faces and say tries to quads. Set compare UV, set compare seam, and this. Let's see if that helps. Doesn't really look like it's helping a lot. So I'm just going to control Z, just take it back to where it was before. Or actually, hold on. Face tries to quads. Alt and then average. Yep, I don't know why it's doing this. Oops. Let's do L by UV, see if that changes anything. No, it's just, let's see, maybe my normals are messed up. Let's see, base normals. No, my normals look good. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure what's happening. Let's see if there's an issue with material. No, I'm not having a material issue. But I think I am having a duplicate piece issue. I'm just not sure exactly how it's set up. So we're gonna so I'm gonna look at the UV map a little bit. It looks like I have some overlapping. Let's see, can I use it? Look at overlaps here. All right, so I use text tools for this. So I'll go to text tools, UV layout, and nope, nothing's overlapping. Let's see if I can select these and see if I can get an idea what's happening here. So we do have some overlap here. I'm just not sure exactly how it's done. And this might have happened when I did the merge. So I'm gonna see how far back I can go. I don't know how far back I can go, but probably not far back enough. No, I'm kind of limited. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna Control Z or Control Shift Z to just take me back to where I was. And so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna kind of see if I can split this up a little bit. So I'm gonna hit A and see if I can do it by boundary select. All right. I'm trying to look and see where the boundaries are. Sometimes it'll give me something I can work with. I'm gonna undo that one. So I'm gonna create a seam. So I'm gonna right click, mark seam, and I'm gonna see if hopefully I can select just a section of it. So I'm gonna hit L and I'm gonna set that to seam. And it looks like that's not necessarily working. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm gonna kind of see where the split is. So let's try this. So I'm gonna try to get this line here. And if I set this to sync, um, it'll sync my actions here with what's going on in my viewport. So we'll go over here. Let's turn off this. We'll turn this to that. Okay, so this is looks like the bottom piece. So I'm just going to kind of grab it and just gonna see what I'm working with here. Mark that as a seam. Let's see, figure out where. Oh, these aren't even connected. What? Hmm. There's always something. Now, what I could also do, which isn't necessarily going to be super hard, is just replace this section, right? So I think that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hit, let's see, Alt H to bring everything back. And I think I'm going to just replace the whole hip section. So this and this. All right, so we'll keep the underwears because they work fine. And we'll get rid of the belt stuff too, just because probably a little easier. All right, hit H to hide. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So X faces, and we're just gonna grab these other pieces, straggling pieces. X faces. Okay, so no, we're not gonna just have her walking around in her undies, but we are gonna bring in our girl. So let's go back to XPS real quick. Import model. We'll go ahead and grab her. And I gotta get rid of that little piece there too. All right, so let's go view, frame selected. So it looks fine as it is here. So I think when I did the um, with the edit select edges, what the hell? Edit select edges. That's where I kind of messed it up, or maybe not. Hold on. It still looks a little bit crazy. So maybe there's just no real solution, or maybe I can just grab this. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna take this piece and just this is probably like a mesh to help for movement, which I'll use later or something like it later. But for now, I'm just gonna get rid of it. So I'm just gonna get out of here. And we're just gonna. Oh wait, hold on. Which one do I want to keep? Let's see. Let's see. Hide. All right, let's take a look at this one. It's the same way. This is also. What the fuck? There's another one. How many dress? There's a bunch of dresses. Okay, hold on. I said Alt H. Let's see what we're going here. So we've got a dress here and a dress here. So I got two dresses. It looks like they both might be jacked up though. They are. So if I hit L here and hide, it just goes away. Okay, so this is not something that I did. So I'm gonna see if I can go all the way back to where I was up here with my dress, and I can't. So I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna recover, autosave, and see if this will get me closer to where I was. And it looks like it won't. Okay, it is what it is. So I'm just going to grab these. And now this, let's see, I'm gonna grab this whole thing as well. Just because it's a little bit easier to size and position. Okay, nice. I'm gonna hide this. I'm gonna hide this. And I'm going to hide this and then delete everything except for the, the dress. Okay, I'm going to go into the dress and make sure I set this to X-ray mode, select the boots, and yeet out all the boots. Okay, cool. All right, so now I'm going to bring this back for a second. And I was going to mold it a little bit more, but I think I'm not going to. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. So I'm going to hit A, Control A, all transforms. And now I'm going to unparent this from that, clear parent. And now I'm going to delete this set of bones because I don't want too many sets of bones. And I'm going to unhide this. So that way I can kind of like put everything back together. I do have to adjust this one more time, but that is fine. Also to make sure the underwears are not sticking through. So and there we go. I am going to see if a subdiv will actually make this look better or worse. Let's see. Add a subdiv to it. And these sharp edges are just really annoying me. Let's hit shade smooth. And it gets rid of some of them. Let's see if let's see, tries to quads. The reason we want to compare the UVs is because you don't want to lose the connection to the actual UV map, which sometimes can happen. In this case, it doesn't look like it will, but in plenty of times it does. And it's really annoying. All right. That usually helps a little bit. I think I'm just going to have to just deal with this as it is. Doesn't necessarily look bad. So, all right. And hopefully the normals kind of like fix this stuff. Yeah, because I really don't like when stuff like this happens. Because what's happening here is it's like the mesh underneath is like popping up through, which I don't like. Now maybe I can address this with some topology edits. Let's see, can I initialize face based on normals? No, and you can see, and so that's really what's happening is that part of it is coming through, and I don't want that. So I'm going to try to alleviate that a little bit. So I'm going to switch this to topology and see if I can. I'm going to try to smooth those pieces back. That's not necessarily working. Let's try to inflate a piece out. No, no, no. Yeah, they're just stuck right against each other. Ah, oh, it's so annoying. There's almost nothing I can do to fix it that I know of. So I think if I grab, oops, there's got to be a way to fix it. I refuse. So I'm going to edit this out of the final section, but I'm going to find a fix for this. All right, so let's try. Hmm. Okay, so Y. Okay, looks like that isn't connected. Okay, that's looking a lot better. Oh, maybe. Let's see. Hide. Nope, not yet. So I'm gonna isolate this piece. Okay, it's probably this inside piece here. Maybe. Mark seam. Where is it connected? Oh, see, that part's not even. If the seam thing isn't working, there's a somewhere where it's just not closed. And I don't know where that is. Let's try this. All right, you know what? Let's try. Nope, it looks like they already did something. Where are you, little connection piece? Oh no. Looks like I messed up. See this situation here? This usually happens when you jack shit up. Did I save? I wonder if I saved. I don't think I saved. Didn't think that I saved. Ah. All right, let's do this one more time. All right. Eat it out. I'm gonna be a pro at this. All right, import the model. Oh, I'm not in the right place. Okay. Okay, so we've got our model again. I usually try not to work with XPS for stuff like this, but whatever. All right, so I'm gonna clear the parent. I'm gonna hide that. And I'm just gonna actually just delete the armature. Oh my goodness. Why is there another person at home? Get out of here. Hide that. Delete all that. Alright, whatever. Let's just delete that one. Oh wait, no, look. It's still fucked. Alright, so a lot of a bunch of this shit was just fucked up. Um before it even got to me. But where is I don't remember deleting that piece of address. Alright, whatever. Let's do this again. Hey, show all transforms. Grab this. Hide it. Eat all of that. Grab this. Yep, whatever. Okay, cool. Looks like I'm just gonna have to deal with this. I don't want to. I really, really, really don't want to. There's gotta be a fix. It's really hard when you've got a bunch of work done by other people. Let's try this. I just hide it. What happens? Okay, that's gone. Like I can manually clear all this stuff out. Wait, what? Huh. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they do this? Like, what were they trying to accomplish? Okay, that's not gonna get it. Nope. Hmm. It looks so chunky. Like, I don't want. Look at that. That looks so bad. All right, let's try this. I'm gonna turn this strength to really low, and I'm just gonna try to smooth pieces out. Looks like it's sort of working, so I have to take it where it is working. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to use the inflate tool to try to select specific little areas where it's gonna push the inside. That makes sense. And hopefully make it less fucked. Well, I'm using the smooth tool actually is what it is. All right, so now I'm gonna go back into edit mode, A Alt and average face area. Okay, and I still get this weird stuff over here. Um, so let's see if I can fix it a little bit. But this part is probably not going to be completely fixed because of how jacked the topology is over here. Like you can only do so much. Yeah, look, it's like damn. So use this flatten. It's not really helping me. It's so fucked. Like, look at that shit. Like, what are they doing? Why? Why is it so bad? Why did they do this? What in the? That is so frustrating, bro. Why is it so bad? Maybe this will work. I don't know. I never tried it. This smooth corrective. Ain't doing shit. Probably don't want to remesh it. Man, it's just not good. Okay. I gotta just wipe that out of my head. Ugh. So that's just gonna delete this whole section of the video. It also looks like this has failed me, so I'm gonna go ahead and just turn that off real quick and make a new one. All right, so we'll just go back to this. So we're back at this part, whatever. I'm just gonna trust that it looks good. We'll hit shade smooth and just take what it gives us. All right, so let's go ahead and go into edit mode. Face select L based on material and yeet that out of here. Faces. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and fix that piece a bit. Fix that piece a bit. Okay. Okay. Cool. Oh, let's get this part out. Just fill up here. All right, cool. All right, so let's upgrade the booba area, I guess. So let's go. So I'm gonna do that by isolating these sections here real quick. This, this, just expand this out. All right. That way I can go into sculpt mode and just say that. Okay, cool. All right. So now we're gonna go back into sculpt mode and oh, it's not like that. Let's go. All right, let's give her. Oh, um, Control Z. I'm just gonna add another shape key real quick. So it's kind of cool. So I can go on here and I can just say breast add. We'll set this to 1. Set this to X, right? Right. And I can go ahead and plump up the goods. Right. So I don't know if that's exactly what I want just yet. But let's see. All right, cool. So now I can just try to, oops, put it smooth, turn smooth down a good bit. So I can do a couple of things. I could just make the outfit bigger, or I could adjust her, which is probably better option. All right, but I don't want to leave her completely deformed in case that's the case. So let's go back in here and see if this still looks right. Smooth it out just a little bit. Okay. All right, cool. So now she does a better job of filling it up. Right? Perfect. All right, the wifey's calling, so I'm gonna have to dip in a second. But let's get this part fixed. Oops. All right, and then when I get a head on there, I'll fix that part. Okay, cool. All right, so the body is pretty much, or the outfit is pretty much set up. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here, and then I'll be back to finish this up.